everyone for tuning in this morning. On the telephone line, I welcome in a Brooklyn, New York City baseball icon, former collegiate all-star athlete, and former Major League ball player. We welcome in Louis Lopez. Louis, Brian C., honor to have you.
Brian, been a long time, man. Thank you for having me, brother.
Absolutely. Let's start in the beginning. You grew up in the Canarsie section of Brooklyn, attended Canarsie High School, played under Coach Bobby Napo. Talk about your early beginnings and how you became attracted to the game.
Well, in my early beginnings, I became attracted to the game. My dad attracted me to it as early as I could hold a bat. It was definitely a fire, a passion that I had since I was a little kid. And then once I got to Canarsie High School, I knew it was a sport that I wanted to continue and to grow with it. Coach Bobby Napo was a big part of my life. He definitely guided me in the right direction. And that was just the beginning, to be able to be on the varsity as a freshman, the starting shortstop, to play 4 years there, was truly an honor.
And you mentioned Coach Bobby Napo, and he was instrumental to you, obviously. How well do you think Canarsie High School Coach Napo prepared you for the next level, your college, the college game?
Well, I'll tell you right now, Coach Napo, he helped me out. He played college ball himself. So right away he knew that he felt that I was going to be at the next level and possibly beyond. I was doing special things in high school between him and my dad, guided me in the right direction, and our summer programs and stuff that I played for. Obviously I played, for the Brooklyn Cadets and youth service. Also played out there in Parkville. And, just playing against good competition just made me better. It pushed me. It taught me how to compete. And those two men, between Bobby Napo and my dad, they definitely pushed me and told me I had to compete to earn my playing time.
Now, you mentioned you played for youth service. Did you play under Coach Mel Zitter?
Yes, I did. Those were great times, too.
Right. And, for those listening, youth service, they had a pedigree of talent. That's where Manny Ramirez came out of, Frankie Rodriguez, another former Major League ball player. What did you learn or take away from Mel Zitter? Was he instrumental as well?
For sure, man. Mel Zitter was instrumental because he basically had that no-nonsense mentality. He didn't want no excuses. He wanted you to go about your business. If you made a mistake, step up and be a man and admit your mistakes and continue and move on. And when you did make mistakes, there was a lot of running, too. We definitely got our track work playing for youth service.
Yeah, no, I remember those games at the parade grounds. He was really a rigorous coach. He knew his job, though. He really knew his job. He knew how to recruit.
Yes, he did. He knew how to recruit. And if you would have the top players in the New York City, you wanted to play for him because you knew he also can help get you to that next level. He always had connects, get into college and stuff like that. Back then we didn't have no showcases and stuff like that. And I personally, I think it's the same way nowadays. Everybody needs to realize it's all about relationships and the networking you do to get you to the next level. And that's what he used to do for all of us.
No, absolutely. Playing for Mel Zitter got you that exposure, no question about it. We're talking with the former baseball player Louis Lopez. Louis, I have an article here, New York Daily News, June 1990, and I'm going to read you a little bit. Louis Lopez, Canarsie High School, talented shortstop. Lopez led the Chiefs in 6 offensive categories, including homers with 12 that season, 1990. He had 56 hits, 55 RBIs, scored 44 times while making just a handful of errors. He also relieved, saving 5 games with a 0 ERA. He had 20 homers and 153 RBIs in his Canarsie career. So I would say that you dominated during that era, late 80s, 1990s, in the New York City era, and that really helped you get that that ride to Coastal Carolina, huh?
For sure, definitely. I mean, it was a great times, great memories, and I just, thank God that I was able to be able to put up those numbers and be able to play high school baseball, because right now what our high school athletes are going through with this pandemic, I really feel for them because if not, none of those memories would be there if we weren't able to play. So I can imagine what the kids are thinking right now, what they're going through. I really feel bad for them. And, like I said, I'm still trying to help them get on to the next level. But definitely, me having that career got me to Coastal Carolina.
Man, in Coastal Carolina, man, I mean, you really dominated. Was that your first choice of schools to attend, or were you targeting other schools, colleges at that time?
When I was being recruited, I've been recruited by big schools. I was University of Florida, University of Kentucky, Michigan, Iowa, Washington State, Pitt. There were a ton of schools. North Carolina wanted me to go. But I wanted to go to a place where, one, obviously I enjoyed the campus and the school first. I wanted to enjoy the coaching staff and what they were about. I wanted to be in a place that was going to be, I felt like I was home. And then the other thing was that I was going to get the opportunity to try and start as a freshman. I didn't want nothing given to me. All I wanted was just an opportunity, And some of those other big schools, I felt like I was going to have to sit for a year or two just because they're loaded with talent every year. Even though I felt like I still had I had the tools to be able to start as a freshman. I just wanted to be able to compete and get an opportunity to be there. And ultimately, I wanted to go to a school not too big, but not too small, that in the classroom, the professors would know me as Louis Lopez, and they wouldn't know me by my Social Security number. So that was another reason why I went there as well.
That's interesting. I mean, you hold Coastal Carolina records. Most games played with 228. You're second all time in Coastal record books in games. What it hits 264, at bats 789, walks 128, and RBIs 167. These are records that you lead in, and a member of the Buddy Sasser Hall of Fame. What do you remember most memorable moments during those years at Coastal Carolina? Any games stand out for you?
For sure, man. I mean, a lot of them. But the first one that stands out to me was when we won and we were the first team to go to the regionals. We were first team to go to the regionals, and we ended up going to Florida State to play as a freshman. Our school had just turned into a D1 program about 5 years ago. And when we were playing in Florida State, I was able to have a lot of family down there to watch me play and to be facing an All-American player, pitcher Roger Bailey. My longtime friend now, Eduardo Perez, was playing first base, and he ended up getting drafted in the first round. And to be able to hit a home run there in front of all my family was unbelievable. I'll never forget that moment, because then I knew I felt like I had belonged. After having that first college season, that I was also honorable mention All-American. It was a storybook ending. Being able to play in that regional.
Yeah, take me back because I'm trying to picture myself in your position. When you arrived at Coastal right out of high school, was it a bit intimidating for you watching the talent in college compared to what you were usually used to in high school?
No, not at all. I mean, I wasn't intimidated because, like I said, my dad had prepared me well, man. Not only did I play with those teams, and we played against great competition all over the U.S., he also even put me. I was able to play some games with my dad in a semi-pro league.
Really?
In the Bronx, yeah. Spanish leagues. It's called the Caribe League in Crotona Park in New York, and I also played in the in Brooklyn in the Sorria League. He made me play there because he knew I was gonna I was going to fail, and he wanted me to feel failure before I would go on to college. So after facing the men pitching against me, I mean, I wasn't intimidated by nobody pitching against me.
Man, and I tell you, when did you get word that you were being recruited by the major leagues?
Well, I mean, when I was in high school, I mean, scouts would come to my games and stuff. Personally, I didn't feel like I was ready to go to sign professionally at a high school. My body wasn't there yet. I really needed to mature more with my body, getting stronger and bigger. I wasn't, you talk about my two buddies that I still keep in touch with, Manny Ramirez and Frank. You talk about two guys that were phenoms. They definitely were ready out of high school. And I didn't, so I had somebody that I had a measuring stick with, and my body wasn't compared to theirs. It wasn't there yet, because I was more on the younger side too. I was only 16 when I got out of high school and I showed up on campus. I didn't turn 17 till I was on campus. So, that's another thing. I put into perspective. I wanted to get drafted, but it wasn't like I was going to sign because I really needed college to develop me.
We're talking with Luis Lopez, former Major League Baseball player. Luis, 27 years old. You were 27. You broke into the big leagues, 2001, I believe, with the Toronto Blue Jays. That year, you played 41 games. If you could take us back to the experience, what was it like for you, your first Major League at bat? How did that feel?
Well, it's a pretty good story, my first Major League at bat. After finally, playing so many years in the minors and putting up great numbers and winning MVP award after MVP award, I was blessed to be able to get up there. And as I get to the stadium, I didn't start that day, but they had me pinch hit for our catcher, Darren Fletcher. There was a runner on second base. I want to say it was a tie score. They were bringing in a relief pitcher, a lefty. And funny thing is, I had faced him. His name was Mike Holtz with the Angels. I had faced him. He played for Clemson when I was at Coastal, so I already knew what he threw and all that stuff. I knew the scouting report on him, and then my buddy Benji Molina was catching. As I'm walking to the plate, he's walking back from the mound, and he's telling me in Spanish, "Hey, congratulations, baby! Welcome to the big leagues." And I'm telling him thank you, and he's like, "Relax, because you ain't gonna hit till tomorrow." And I said, "What are you talking about?" So while I'm going through my routine, when I get in the box and I'm cleaning the dirt with my feet, and he tells me, "Because we're gonna intentionally walk you." And I say, "What, for real? Like, are you being real? Is that true?" And I tell him in Spanish, and he says, "Yeah." So all of a sudden, he puts his arm out, puts his hand out, and they intentionally walk me. So when the first ball goes by, I'm just like, this got to be a trivia question. That's the first thing I thought. Because I had watched baseball for so many years, and I never saw nobody break in with an intentional walk.
You made the record books.
I did make the record books, and I got it on a DVD, so I had to have proof of that. I was like, people ain't gonna believe me.
Now, when we played way back in high school, you played shortstop. In the major. Now, however, in the major leagues, you played first base and third base. How was the transition?
Well, I'll tell you what, man. Shortstops in the major leagues are freaks of athletes. And I knew I wasn't on that level. You have to be very quick. I mean, you're talking about guys that can run, like under 6'7". I mean, these guys are flying 6'8". You have your exceptions, but I definitely wasn't one of those exceptions. As they felt as I would get stronger, that I would be more of a corner guy, playing third base and first. But in the minor leagues, I did play everything. I mean, I played first, second, third. I caught a little bit, played a little left field, right field. And then finally, when I cracked in, it was on the corner infield spots. But the transition was pretty easy, man, because, like I said, a shortstop is a hard position to play. Everybody growing up says that they're a shortstop, and you don't really realize how much of a freakish of an athlete you have to be to be a D1 shortstop, one, and to be a minor league or big league shortstop. It's like on another level. So I always used to take ground balls with them because they always had the best feet and hands to me. And even though I was playing third and first base, I would go and take ground balls with them just to learn more stuff.
I mean, what does it take to really be considered to be drafted? I mean, you got to have everything. You got to have speed. You got to hit. You got to field. You got to throw. I mean, what does it take? You need the whole package, right?
Some guys do, depending on the position you play. My thing was I knew I didn't have speed. Okay, I ran average, but I knew my main thing was hitting. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to hit so good that they would forget about my speed. They would overlook it. I wanted to be the best hitter out there. I wanted to be great. And to basically, they wouldn't look at my speed no more. And then I wanted to be a good fielder. I worked on my fielding. I wanted to be, I wanted to be able to play third base and first base. I didn't want to be a DH. I don't want to be one-dimensional. And then the other thing is, I mean, you don't have to be so fast to be a good base runner, but you just got to be smart. And that's one thing that I worked on. I took pride in those three things, and I knew how to separate them. My offense, my defense, and my base running, I knew how to separate them. Because ultimately, I took my hitting seriously, but we're not going to get a hit every day. But you can catch a ground ball every day, and you can run the bases correctly every day. So that was one thing I try to focus on as a player.
And Louis, since we're on the topic of hitting, if I can ask you a question, what's the secret to being a good hitter? How important is keeping that back foot if you're a right-handed hitter? How important is turning your hips and keeping that back leg planted and not lunging? Is that very important to making a good hitter?
It's all about balance. It's all about balance. It's all about having an approach, a plan, because now everybody's good at that level. So the only difference, the separator, is what's between our ears. It's a mindset. You got to have a different type of mindset to continue to go up through the process of the minor leagues all the way up to the big leagues. And, I tell kids till nowadays that I coach, I go, hey, man, you guys run faster than me. You actually throw harder than me, than what I used to throw. But this is where I got you, my mind. My mind. I thought about everything. I thought about everything ahead of time. When a lot of people are thinking in the present, my mind was already in the fourth and fifth inning of what was going on. I'm seeing scenarios and playing them out in my mind and visualizing as well. A lot of visualization. A lot of people don't understand how much, everybody talks about, it's 90% and 10% physical. To be honest, I think it's more like 98, 99% mental, and that 1% is physical once you get to the big leagues.
And the secret to developing bat speed, any tips on that?
Sure. There's some drills I do with some of the guys. I used to swing a heavy bat. I used to put a donut on my bat and to strengthen up my wrist, my hands, my forearms, all that stuff. And then I would go and grab my bat. You just got to try and get a good strength and conditioning program. Once you get stronger, that's what's going to help with everything, with the bat speed and all that stuff. It's all about the strength, and that's the separator nowadays. Before, back in the day, they used to tell us, if you lift weights, you're going to get too tight. You ain't going to be able to play. And it's completely wrong. As long as you're doing your stretching and you're working out with a strength and conditioning guy that knows baseball exercises, baseball-related exercises, not that we're getting our muscles ready for the beach. You want to get a guy that helps you out, and you got to stretch, run, all that stuff. But that's the separator between two guys that have the same level, same skill set. Whatever they do behind the scenes, the guy that does it, that's the guy that's going to get ahead of the other one.
Interesting. Getting back to your MLB career, 2001, as we mentioned, you played for the Blue Jays. 2004, you played for Montreal. Now, you played under Frank Robinson. Is that correct?
Yes, I did, man. It was great, man. He rest in peace.
Man,
He was a great man,
man.
and a lot of my teammates, which were older guys, you look at Carl Everett and Jose Vidro and Livan Hernandez, and I had Tony Batista on that team with me, Nick Johnson. They were Orlando Cabrera. All of them guys that were there, they came over to me and they were like, "Man, we don't know what you did, but he don't really like rookies usually, but he loves you." So
Really?
I found it as a great compliment that a Hall of Famer, liked me and was able to put me on the major league team right out of spring training. So I was happy. I was blessed to be able to be around him. Funny story, I went up to him and I asked him for 2 baseballs to get signed. So he asked me, "Who's it for?" And I go, "Well, one is for my dad and one's for me." And he goes, "I'll sign your dad's. I ain't signing nothing for you. You play for me. Get out of here."
Did he really?
Yeah. So he
Yeah.
shot me down.
No, man, the legendary right-handed hitter, one of the greatest.
Yes,
And you also part of that franchise, the history of the franchise. 2004 was the final season in Montreal, right?
correct. They were trying to figure out where they were going to go. Rumors was they were going to try and even move to San Juan, Puerto Rico. And we happened to play some games there. We played 22 games of our schedule there. And funny thing is, the field that we were playing on was my winter ball stadium. So, every time we would go there, and I had played there in 2001 as well with the Blue Jays when we opened up the season against the Texas Rangers. So, since it was my home crowd, everybody knew me there and they were, going crazy. So they would always mess with me and Carlos Delgado and the other guys, that have big names in Puerto Rico. And they were like, they cheered louder for Louis than all you guys. Get out of here. And I go, no. I said, don't get it twisted. I said, them guys are superstars, not me. I said, I'm just playing winter ball here. That's why they know me.
Well,
But,
Louis, you're the man. You've always been the man.
oh, man, thanks.
So
I appreciate it.
yeah. So I have a couple of minutes left. Let me ask you about the Bridgeport Bluefish. Talk about the Bluefish and how that came about joining the organization.
Okay, so in 2006, I ended up, I was in big league camp and everything with the Milwaukee Brewers. Had a good camp, and they just didn't have no room for me. They let me go, and I ended up playing in Mexico the next 2 years. After I had 2 good seasons there, I came back and played some independent ball that 2007 season. Towards the end, finished up the year up in North Shore, up in Lynn, Massachusetts. One of my buddies was the manager, Victor Villa. And, we ended up losing the championship. We had a good run, and I had no offers from nowhere after that during the winter until one Atlanta League team came up, and it was the Bridgeport Bluefish. They were the only ones that offered me a contract. So I got ready, and I was like, it's close to the city in New York City. I can commute if I want to or whatever. So I started playing for them, and I had an unbelievable season. I mean, I was leading the league in hitting at All-Star break, everything. I was still trying to latch on, but I knew it was going to be hard. I was already in my 30s. I knew it was going to be hard to get back to a major league team. I never got the chance, but I stayed in Bridgeport, after that first year because everybody started offering me contracts within the Atlantic League. But I stayed with them because I'm big on loyalty, and they were the only ones that offered me a contract, and I couldn't see myself playing nowhere else because the other teams back in 2008, they didn't offer me nothing. So that's the reason why I had the longevity with the Bluefish. I was able to break a lot of records there. They retired my number there. Funny thing is, when we came here, I also met my wife here. And it's been great, man. I still live in the area, too.
Nice. And then, so what you been up to? So what's new in your life?
Okay, well, right now, after I retired in 2014, I went on and started an academy with my partner, with Sandy and Maria Ogg. We, the 3 of us, came up with the idea of starting a foundation, and we're called the New York Nighthawks. So it's a nonprofit organization, and we're taking kids to showcases and tournaments and putting them in front of the right people, teaching them the right way how to play, how to act on and off the field. We check their grades all the time, and this is the thing, because everybody is pay to play now. You can make a lot of money in this business, but with our organization, it's for free. It's for free. We're able to have sponsors and that pay for everything and sponsor us, as far as like Adidas and Evo Shield and Wilson, stuff like that. They take care of us with everything.
And they're telling me I have 1 minute. And what's the website, Louis?
The website is New York Youth Baseball Foundation, and the team is called the New York Nighthawks.
All right, final question. Final question. You get excited about opening day? You still follow baseball, professional baseball?
Oh, yeah, man. I'm excited. I'm super excited. Follow professional baseball. I'm also a prep school, high school varsity coach at the Harvey School. So we started on Monday as well. So we've been very excited this whole week. Been talking with the boys baseball all week long.
Man, hey, listen, it was really an honor to have you. A long time. And anytime you want to come on, just send me an email. We'll put you on. I appreciate it. You did a great job.
For sure, man. Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. And I would love to come on anytime you guys want me.
Thanks, buddy. Take care of yourself.
All right. Be good. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Former Major League Baseball player Louis Lopez, former Canarsie High School Brooklyn, New York icon. What a talented individual. What a talented player. Until next week, happy collecting to all.